What's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Red and Gold Standard Podcast. My name is Zach Hernandez, and as always, I am joined by my co-hosts, Matt Llewellyn and Mike Andrews of Nothing But Niners. We got a great show planned for you guys tonight. We're going to be breaking down the joint practice versus the Denver Broncos and the first preview of the year. It is preseason football, but it is still 49ers football nonetheless. Before I toss it over to my guys, if you're watching on X, make sure you like and repost the show. If you're watching on YouTube, do us a solid, hit like and subscribe to Nothing But Niners and 49ersHive. We are streaming live to both channels. And hop in the chat, share your thoughts, we want to hear it. Now that I got that out of the way, Matt, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good, Zach. It's been a long day for me. Went to the gym today, went played 9 holes of golf right after that, build my daughter a bed. So, just been an interesting day.
Nice. Mike, how you doing?
I'm good, man. All is well. Went for a nice little walk with my family today. Took the dog out. My dog doesn't go for long walks often, so as soon as he hits grass it's not on our property, he's got to just try to blow it up. Sorry, I probably shouldn't have said that so early in the show, but he drops loads as soon as he touches grass that's not ours. It's the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life. I don't get it. Sorry.
Interesting.
But yeah, that's how my day has been going. That it was random as heck. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You know what's funny is my dog Tony. He started doing this thing maybe about a year ago now where we take him on walks. I've never known a dog to do this. He poops twice. He'll poop and then we'll walk a couple of blocks around and he poops again. And it's so consistent that I now take 2 poop bags with me when we go on walks because it's does he mark his territory by poop? It's really weird. I tried Googling it. There's not much about it, but it's weird.
My dog is the same way. Once he runs out, he tries to keep going. All right, no, I need to do more. I need to do it. And it's dude, it's not there.
Well, you would think they get it all out at once, right? Who cuts their poop in half and is nah, let me save this for the bush around the corner.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah.
My bad. We got a little sidetracked there.
My dogs take forever. That's all I know.
I guess they all have their quirks. All right, joint practice. A lot happened. By the way, appreciate you guys for tuning in. We're always a little late, so you see that start time, add 5-10 minutes because we always got something going on. We all got lives. None of us are paid to do this, so keep that in mind. But we appreciate you guys being here nonetheless. So, joint practice occurred today, and it was a pretty lively joint practice. You do see the old faces, Dre Greenlaw, Hufanga, DJ Jones, all these former 49ers returning to Levi Stadium for the joint practice with the Broncos. I don't know if you guys heard, but Brock Purdy actually threw a couple interceptions today. I'm kidding. Obviously, that was the certain corners that are predisposed to running with that information. It seemed like that was their only takeaway from joint practices today. And shout out to the beat writers and reporters that were on the ground covering this. Nick Wagner has a great breakdown of everything that occurred today. But my main takeaway and my first question for you guys is Ricky Pearsall looks to be legit. He looks like a true number 1 receiver. He's had a great camp. He's having he had a great joint practice today versus the Broncos. Had a nice deep touchdown. It was initially reported it was against Pat Surtain. Actually wasn't against Pat Surtain. It was another corner. Not that matters. It was a great route by him and great catch. How much of this is preseason / training camp hype, and how much do you guys think this is actually real momentum that he can build on going into the season? Matt?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of both, right? You don't want to put too much stock into the training camp stuff, but at the same time, this is a guy with a first-round pedigree who has been in this offense, who's going into year 2 and having a relatively healthy, hamstring injury notwithstanding, off season, it really does help. So, he's a very athletic player. He's probably one of the faster 49ers receivers on the field. So I'm not surprised that he's showing out. It's a little more meaningful, I would say, in joint practice, just because what do the Broncos have, what do they have to gain by letting the 49ers do anything, right? It's not like the Broncos know what the 49ers are going to do or not going to do, so for 49ers practicing against each other, if Kyle Shanahan wants to pick on a certain defense, then he will run something to beat that defense. And so Ricky Pearsall could look really good in that, and it wouldn't matter anyway. When you're going up against a team that doesn't know what you're doing, and obviously you're not going to share the game plan with them, it does mean a little bit more. But still, these are very vanilla looks from everybody. It's not like they've done full install, and if they played in the regular season, the looks might be a little different. So one-on-ones, he looked good. Otherwise, in the team sessions, he looked good. It's a promising thing, and it's desperately needed for the 49ers to have someone that can kind of grab the bull by the horns while Jennings and BA are making their recovery.
Which is, really, really the main thing is if he has to step in and be that number one receiver, you hope he grows into it. But in the meantime, he's had a ton of success ending last year, going into this year, training camp, preseason to build on. Mike, on the flip side, they also let a receiver go, not today, but a couple days ago. And I see the chat already talking about it. We talked about him last show. Isaiah Nayor, and people were talking about this guy like he's the next Jerry Rice. Were you surprised to see the Niners make that move and cut him?
I mean, I hadn't heard his name since Pads came on. So, once, honestly, like it was since we cut him, it was like, oh, that's right, that guy was here. So I don't really know, man. Like it's odd. I guess like that a fan favorite that happened to, but we've also seen that happen before. I still remember the KD Cannon days and the hype that he came into camp with, right? And I kind of feel like it's the same thing. Like once the pads come on, these guys don't really tend to thrive that way. And I want to go back to the Ricky Pearsall conversation you guys were having. I'm hearing that he's actually only good when Kyle dials up those plays in space that Matt was talking about. Like when Kyle just dials up like the zone beaters and, things like that. But they're saying if people get their hands on him at the line of scrimmage, like he's basically eliminated from that play. Or if it's a contested catch, like one of Brock's picks was a throw to him across the middle, and he jumps up and like bats the ball into the air, and it comes down as a pick. So it depends on who you're listening to and what you're listening for. I haven't heard that he's just flat out like blowing by guys or he's routing people up or anything like that. Like I remember the reports from seasons past where it's like Brandon Ayuk just cannot be stopped one-on-one. Like, I mean, they were talking about how I haven't heard those style of reports from Ricky Pearsall. What I am hearing is him and Brock Purdy have a connection, right? They're finding each other all day long, and that's cool because he's going to be your wide receiver 1 or 2, depends on how you view Jennings, right? But he's going to be a guy that Brock has to depend on, but I haven't heard that he's just flat out cooking corners out there. So that is still a little concerning to me.
Well, see, and I get the report that he went up against Patrick Surtain, and Surtain forced an incompletion, and then Ricky came back and won every 1v1 matchup that they had for the rest of the session. So,
yeah. I heard that same thing. I believe I saw that on Brad Graham's timeline, right? So, like, yeah. I hear that also, but like, if it's where they're giving him space, he's not really, you know what I mean? I don't know. 1v1, like all you gotta do is fake inside and go outside, or vice versa. Like it's kind of favorable, but in play is what I'm worried about. Like in the team stuff, the 7-on-7 or the 11 versus 11 is where I want to see that he's really doing it. The 1v1, it always favors the wide receivers. It's just impressive when DBs can do it. It's expected when wide receivers do it in those scenarios.
I don't know. I haven't seen anything where Pearsall's not getting the job done. Like I've literally seen nothing that says that at all.
I have Kyle Shanahan being asked about him today from Rob Louder. Let's check this out.
His rookie year.
Ricky
Pearsall's been pretty active since he made his return. What have you seen from him in comparison to his rookie year?
Ricky's such a good football player, and he works so the right way, and he's got such natural hands, such natural route running ability, and the game's not too big for him. So Ricky's biggest thing is just being out there and trying to stack days. He got off to a late start because of his hamstring, but he's been able to stack days here over these last couple of weeks, and when he does that, he just gets better and better, and really helps us out on offense.
Thought that was interesting. He's a good football player. The game's not too big for him. You don't hear Kyle Shanahan really, he's not usually hyping up a lot of people, a lot of players. So I think he means it when he says that about Ricky Pearsall. And like Matt, I've heard pretty much nothing but positive things about Ricky Pearsall going into this training camp and joint practice today. I'm interested to see what you're saying, Mike, is physical press coverage going to be, used to his detriment? I guess we'll have to see. There is a clip here from a nice touchdown catch he had today, or a deep strike from Brock Purdy. Let's pull it up here. This is from the 49ers.
And I mean, he's not wide open there. Like, that's with a DB like right on him, and he's coming down with that. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't know. I feel like some people have axes to grind and don't want to hype certain people up and whatever else. So I guess it just depends on the sourcing of who's saying that Pearsall is struggling, because like Barrows, Kawakami, like everybody who's watching these practices say that like Pearsall's like tearing it up.
And then it also depends on how people are watching it, right? Like, is he tearing it up because of number of receptions and yards, or which is going to directly relate to opportunities, right? Or is it he's tearing it up like he's cooking receivers? Like we were hearing about Ayuk 2 seasons ago, not this past one, right? But the season before that, it was like it didn't matter if he was getting the ball or not. Like no one could stick with Ayuk. Like he was just burning guys. Like his route running was that good. Those are the kind of reports that I just haven't heard yet about Pearsall. I'm not saying that he can't get there or anything like that.
I mean Kyle just said his route running is like really good. I mean, and I've been saying his route running is really good. I don't know. That's the thing. People say like it's the same argument with Brock Purdy, right? Like, oh, Brock Purdy's guys are always wide open. That's why he's hitting all the, and it's just like, okay, so either the wide receivers separate and Brock Purdy's not good, or the wide receivers don't separate, so they're not good, or whatever else. It's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. I guess it'll count when the games count, but I don't know, man. Everything that I've seen is people singing Pearsall's praises, including his head coach. So
I think he's in for a big year. I think last year he would have had a big year had he not obviously gotten shot a couple of weeks before the season started. He's in. I really do think this is going to be a 1,000-yard season for Ricky Pearsall. Juwan Jennings will go back to that 2 position until Brandon Ayuk comes back, and then probably go back to that 3 position, maybe fighting with DeMarcus Robinson for reps, for targets, I should say, not reps. The other receiver that we're hearing a lot about is the rookie Jordan Watkins.
Before you get to him, can I
please,
say something about Nayor?
Yeah.
People fall in love too much with numbers. So, he's 6'3", 6'4", or whatever. He runs a 4.4 or whatever. He's a great athlete, don't get me wrong. But when you hear about people who get better with the pads on versus get worse with the pads on, it seems like he's gotten worse with the pads on. And a guy that we saw that got better with the pads on is on the defensive side. Everybody's saying Upton Stout. As soon as the pads came on, he got even more ferocious.
Yeah.
There's a difference between being a good athlete and being a good football player.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Absolutely. Well said. That's a good point. And talk about people falling in love too quick. We did our show last week, and in the comments, people were like, oh, he signed to Green Bay, and he's going to torture us for the rest of his career. I didn't respond, but I wanted to say, yeah, I heard that about a quarterback a couple decades ago also, and he wasn't really a problem for the 49ers. So, they really do fall in love with these guys very early. And I'm no better. Like, there's guys that I pull for as soon as we draft them or as soon as we pick them up or sign them. So, I'm no different. But what you've never heard me say is, oh, man, he's going to make us regret that. Like, that part I've never said. So,
especially as an undrafted free agent.
Right.
Like, you mean to tell me that 32 teams passed on this dude 7 times, and then he gets into camp and he's cut, and all of a sudden that's when he's going to pop? I understand if somebody signed him as an undrafted free agent and he popped for the team that like picked him up, because that does happen, and a lot of teams are filled with undrafted free agents, but you'd usually see it when he gets into camp against other NFL talent, right? Like, you would see it right away. So I don't know, man. I just think he is too raw for what the 49ers are trying to accomplish. And he can be a good raw athlete, but that doesn't mean that he's going to be a good wide receiver.
He joins the 4-5 other uber athletic, underproven wide receivers in Green Bay. I mean, they did draft one finally with their first round pick in Matthew Golden, but nothing has been proven yet. They had, they kind of went into the last year and a half going, we don't need a wide receiver 1. We got 3 wide receiver 2s, and they're all wide receiver 1. We got Bo Melton, or whatever the fuck his name is, and we got Jaden Reed, and we got Christian Watson, even though he can't stay on the field with his damn groin injuries. None of them did anything productive when it came to push came to shove. But let's get on to Jordan Watkins, the 49ers rookie receiver, who I think is in line for a nice rookie season. I want to start with this clip, and then Mike, I want to get your thoughts on him because he also had a house call today in the joint practice with the Broncos. Boom.
So this clip went crazy, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, he burned Surtain," and I'm like, "When did Surtain switch to number 39? Like, where did that story?" So, is there another clip of him beating somebody for a touchdown that I don't know about?
Someone said Surtain by accident, and that was the tweet that took off.
Oh, okay.
Also, I mean, listen, in the Super Bowl, they called George Kittle for OPI for less than what Watkins does on this play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like he literally shoves the defender off of him to create separation, right
With
at
both
about
hands,
the 15-yard line, and then the defender falls down. They're calling that in the game.
So,
I'm really not trying to hate because I think that like just you see the speed, you see what's there, but like let's be honest about what we're looking at.
Right. You see the speed, you see the focus, right? You see how easily he caught the ball and everything. You know what I mean? Like, so I like all of those things. Everything you see there is good, but you got to learn to use less hands. Don't make it as obvious and all that. And we saw that from the opposite angle where his hands were kind of blocked by the defender, right? Imagine what it looked like from the opposite side, right? Where you see him and then his hands and then the receiver. It probably looks even worse. I don't know how that official who was standing there with that angle that I'm talking about, the second angle, didn't throw the flag there. And I saw a similar play from Upton Stout, by the way. It was a 1v1, and he gets the interception. I'm like, dude, that's not defensive pass. Like, he shoved this guy to the ground. That's what I thought I saw on that play. But back to Watkins, right? I like it, right? Whether it's a flag in practice or not, I like seeing that you're aggressive. I like seeing that you're not afraid. You're not going to just come in here and just like, oh, well, I'm just going through the motions. No, go in here and get it off. Like, go in here and fight these guys. Not physically fight, but you know what I mean. Battle these guys for the ball and try to win every single rep that you get, And then we'll work on not pushing later on. You'll start to talk to veterans, and they'll tell you how to use your body more and not your hands, and you can't extend your arms all the way. We've seen guys do it a little bit with the back of the wrist, where they're looking back and it almost looks like they're going for the ball, but they're really pushing off with the back of their wrist and the top of the forearm, right? As opposed to putting your hands on somebody and pushing away, because that's going to draw the flag. He'll learn those things with time in the NFL. He's used to being college open, right? This is going to be a different game here. So good rep for him. And I've heard, like you guys said, nothing but positive things about him. I'm really, really excited for him. And he may be getting more opportunities than we expect him to get, depending on how these wide receivers can't stay healthy.
Right.
These wide receivers can't stay healthy. He's making the best of his opportunities. And I say, I want to see more. He's one of the guys that I'm highlighting for Saturday night's game. He's one of the guys I'm going to be watching carefully.
100%. And he likely is getting these increased reps because of Jacob Cowing's injury. I think this was the role and the amount of usage that Kyle Shanahan had envisioned for Jacob Cowing coming into training camp, preseason. Unfortunately, he had that injury, and now he's stuck back on the shelf. Jordan Watkins, like you said, Mike, saw the opportunity, is making the most of it. I've heard nothing but great things from him. I saw somebody asking if he beat Surtain later in the red zone on a slant. I didn't see anything about that. But his speed, I think, really translates well.
To be fair, I saw that reported on X.
You did see that? Okay. So
yeah. It's
possible then, yeah. He ran a 4.38 unofficial at the combine. So he's very fast, sub 4.44 40. And the 49ers have desperately needed that speedster for so long. And they finally have it in Jordan Watkins. I'm just hoping he can put all of the pieces together and become a complete package for the 49ers. Because this is like the weakest wide receiver group they've had in years going into a season, especially with Brandon Ayuk hurt, Juwan Jennings hurt. His wallet has a empty strain, apparently. So we'll see when that comes into place. But you got Ricky Pearsall shining, Jordan Watkins seemingly coming into his own. It's been hopeful. Did you have anything to say, Matt, else for Jordan Watkins?
No, just that Jordan Watkins, again, I trust the pedigree a little bit more with Jordan Watkins. I think that when you come from, I don't know why I have this theory, but I have this theory. If you come from a Power 4 conference, but you're not at one of the best schools and you excel, I think that you're better prepared for the NFL. For whatever reason that is. And I really hold that true with quarterbacks, but I also hold it true with other position players as well. He was from the SEC. He went to Ole Miss. He excelled at Ole Miss. And, Ole Miss is not exactly, a top 10 team. I mean, they were really good last year, but traditionally not at the top echelon of SEC schools. You don't think about them with Georgia. You don't think about them with Alabama. You don't think about them with Texas, So there's something to that. And when you compare it to, no offense to Jacob Cowing, who was at UTEP and then was at Arizona, that's like a little bit different, I don't know. I don't know why it is that I feel that way, but it just is. It is something. And Watkins is a little bit bigger than Cowing. Mm-hmm. So not a ton, but, Watkins 5'11", like just right around 190, 200 pounds. And Cowing's like what, 5'8", 5'9", and like $180. So not for nothing. I think that in terms of route tree, in terms of being physical, I think Jordan Watkins is going to have a little bit more success in that regard.
Yeah. I see a comment here asking about the game. How do I watch the game from not on the West Coast? I know NFL Network airs them all. Oh, Mike's going to be airing it. Share the deets. That's
right. Patreon.com/NB9ERS. Every game, all season long. You guys got to be $5 tier or more, and you get my wonderful commentary throughout the game, all my emotions. And don't worry, it is full screen. My icon is like smaller than what my eye is on the screen right now, and it's up all the way in the corner. You'll barely see me, but you best believe you're going to hear me. You're definitely going to hear me. So, yeah, come over there and watch the game with us. For preseason, you can do a $1 tier, Aaron, if you want to try that. Do the $1 tier for preseason games, but once the regular season hits, it's going to be $5 tier and up for the access to the games.
There you go. Patreon.com/NB9ERS.
NB9ERS. Yes, sir.
By the way, quick shout out to Guy Haberman being selected to temporarily fill in for
Greg Papa,
who is dealing with cancer. Obviously, our thoughts and prayers go out to Greg Papa, but Guy Haberman, great guy, extremely knowledgeable, big Niners fan, so stoked to be able to listen to him. He's been calling college games for a bit, so looking forward to that. Anyway, back to the show. Mike, or Matt, I forget which one of you brought up Upton Stout. This kid is like having just as good as a camp as Ricky Pearsall and Jordan Watkins, but on the defensive side, has he like earned that starting gig now? Do you think that's safe to say?
I thought it was pretty cool. I did a presser breakdown from a couple of days ago, and Kyle talked about how he's like leapfrogging other people vying for that nickel spot, right? And I'm not going to say that he's earned the start yet. I don't want them to give it to him too soon, and he kind of like starts to coast. Like with someone like that, you got to keep him encouraged. Make him be second team just because. Don't go out there and just give him the start. Now, I get it. It's the first game and it's after the first preseason game and it's after joint practices. So odds are he will likely be starting, as most starters won't be out there. But I would still try to find out a way to like make him go out there and earn it. But for everything that we're hearing and seeing, it's definitely trending that way. He's playing really, really well from what everyone is saying. I mean, the people that like to hate on the Niners can't even find something bad to say about him. He's that good. I mean, it sounds like we got another Diamador Lenore, who I heard was struggling today, by the way.
Oh. I want to play this clip. This was the highlight for Upton Stout. Talked about it earlier. That went viral, and then Matt will get your thoughts on him as well. got the pick, did a little bit of the flex. Definitely very, very hands-on, very grabby. Receiver
Look at the
trips.
receiver look back for a flag. Look at him look back for a flag. He didn't trip. He got pushed in the back. Look at that. I like it, man. I like it. If they don't throw the flag, it's a good play. That's the way I feel about it.
I mean, what did the Legion of Boom say?
One more time. I want to see if he turns his head for the ball when he makes contact with him, because I think he does. He's looking at
his head was
ball.
turned before he made contact. He kind of just ran
Before.
into the back of the receiver.
Right.
Like
I
that
think when he made
contact is
contact
him
with the
running
receiver-
into a
Yes. Yeah.
So that's like legal contact then, because he's
Yeah,
making
it
a play
is.
on the ball.
It is. And then I like the cockiness. Let's go. All right. Now get back to it. Don't sit there and celebrate too much. No ball spin, but let's go. I like it. I like it, man.
Yeah.
But like Legion of Boom said, are they going to throw a flag every play? No. Clearly not. So if you're just going to be a little hands-on, a little more aggressive, then either force them to play through it or call a flag every play. Throw a flag. Matt, what are your thoughts on the rookie and maybe any expectations for him from Saturday?
I mean, he seems like he's the 49ers perfect type of player. Somebody who is just not cocky, but confident, right up to that borderline. Somebody who is ready and willing to mix it up. Somebody who's not afraid of contact. And I think that he would have gone earlier if not for his smaller stature. But John Lynch has been on record of saying it too, that like he plays bigger than his height and his weight. He plays like he's a bigger player than he is, and he loves that contact. So it bodes well. I think one of the things I also heard about him was that he really studied K'Wan Williams as he was coming up. And like this 49ers defense could definitely use somebody like K'Wan Williams in the slot. The defense has kind of been missing that element ever since K'Wan Williams left. And it's just, it's nice to see. So I'm very excited about this kid for sure.
You talked about John Lynch. There was a quote going viral. Let me pull up the quote here from him on KNBR. And he shared some very impressive, very high praise, I should say, on the rookie. He said, "You always have to be careful making comparisons to Hall of Fame players, but I played with a nickel in Tampa, Rondé Barber. The feistiness, the competitor that Upton is, reminds me of him." That's very high praise from the Hall of Famer himself, John Lynch. Mike?
Another number 20. Another number
Good
20,
point.
man. I mean, it's really cool. And John Lynch is a guy that is cautious with how he praises people. He doesn't want to peg somebody in and say, I don't want him to be the next whoever. John Lynch says that all the time. And so for him to not be able to contain it and give that glowing comparison, it says a whole lot about how this kid is looking in camp. And, they've said it over and over in the chat. Like, I remember that call. I remember the phone call. You got a dog, man. You got a dog. You got the best corner in the draft. You're gonna see. I'm ready to work. You got a dog. He just kept saying it over and over. The work ethic seems to be there. The mentality seems to be there. This is what we need. We need somebody else out there for a position group that we were a little worried about going into camp. It seems like, all right, this is the one that we might be able to make a sigh of relief. And I expect him to have his hiccups and stuff once the games start to count and you're actually under these football lights and you get the feel of it and the money is a little bit different and all that stuff, right? Like, I expect him to have a couple of hiccups early on, but man, oh man, this kid is going to be something fun to watch and watch him get better and better.
Definitely. Matt, you talked about him reaching out to K'Wan Williams to kind of really learn from him since he knows that's what the 49ers want from him. That style. This is a tweet from Nick Wagner quoting 49ers defensive backs coach Daniel Bullocks. Let's see. That he had reached out to K'Wan Williams. Stout liked watching Williams so much he reached out to him during OTAs. Pair struck up a relationship, and Williams sent Stout some cut-ups to watch in his downtime. Stout has been in touch with Williams with questions ever since. Quote, "It says a lot of good things about who K'Wan was as a player," Bullock said. "We still show teach tapes for guys that played here who did it right. We always are going to talk about those guys from the past that have done it the right way. And these players that we got now currently, they're learning from the guys and then they're taking and making it their own." big takeaway from today in general, Stout has made a strong impression with his maturity and enthusiasm for the game. Bullocks recently walked into a meeting room to find Stout watching cut-ups from 2018. So you just love to see it. Seems to be a real student of the game. Looking at, Mykel Williams, you can't really, there's not a better nickel corner in the past decade that the 49ers have had probably. So shout out to him for trying to learn from who they're trying to emulate his playing style off of. And I also have Fred Warner's thoughts on Upton Stout. He was asked about him today. Played this clip. It's not that long.
I think that's the great thing. I think that's the great thing about Upton is like I don't think anybody's had to really say much to him. I think he's made of the right stuff. It's not about him trying to go out there and prove anything to anybody. I think he's exactly made of the right stuff, and he is who he is, and he shows that every single day without people having to tell him what to do. So that is nice when you got a rookie who just gets it right, and so I think the sky's the limit for him.
That's the main thing, I think. And I've heard that from a couple different players and coaches. He just gets it. Like, that's really encouraging to hear. And the 49ers, I said a couple shows ago, they're a second linebacker and a nickel corner away from having an elite defense. It kind of leads me to my next topic. Do you guys have anything else to say about Upton Stout? No?
Just looking forward to seeing him play in real game action.
Likewise. The next thing I have, Dee Winters. Dee Winters has been balling out. And last year, it was always, he's like a missile looking for, heat, right? Heat-seeking missile looking for its heat to target. This year, it seems a little more disciplined, a little more confined, a little more dialed in. And his pass coverage is out of this world from all the reports I'm hearing. He is very, very good sticking with running backs, tight ends, receivers, whatever it is. And he looks like that thumper that the 49ers need to replace Dre Greenlaw and play next to Fred Warner. So I don't know if you guys have heard any reports about Dee Winters as well, but definitely have high hopes for the kid this year. Mike?
Yeah. One of the biggest compliments that I'm hearing about him is that he's improved in coverage. They're saying how good he is in coverage. I believe Christian McCaffrey even came out and complimented how he's playing downfield and when he's got a guard, a running back, and all. So it sounds good. It sounds good. This is going to be someone else that I'm watching on Saturday, right? He's one of the guys that I'm highlighting because we need to know who is going to be the guy next to Fred Warner. And I know that there's going to be two of them at times, but he's the guy that we're looking for to take that next step up for the team. He's been here. He knows the system. Now it's about playing fast. And this all goes back to the difference between Robert Saleh and some of these other coaches, right? All these other coaches were having these guys looking and reading and reacting, right? And Saleh's thing is, we know the mantra, right? All gas, no brake. And so just go out there. You already know what you're supposed to do. You know the system. Now just play 100 miles an hour. If you play with that kind of intensity and all, you might even make somebody else nervous, right? They may have we're going to have you beat, but you're playing so fast and you're on them so quick. It's like, oh crap! Like, how do I adjust? Now you've caused enough hesitation to disrupt the entire play. That's what it sounds like these guys are doing. Stout, Winters, like they're playing with that intensity, and I'm going to attribute it to a guy like Robert Saleh being back in the mix.
Good take, Matt. Any thoughts on Dee Winters? I don't know if you've heard anything, but.
No, I mean, if I've heard that he's been flying around the field and that he looks really good. I think the key for him is just to stay healthy. He's had issues with that. And because he plays so physical, again, with these linebackers that play as physical as, he seems to do and as Dre Greenlaw did, particularly at their size. I think Dee Winters like 6'1", maybe like 220 pounds. He's not like a huge guy. You got to watch that stuff. You could definitely end up shortening your career and having it be a problem in terms of your availability. The goal for Dee Winters is to make Nick Martin not necessary to be on the field for his rookie year. That's the goal. You've been here for a couple years now, and it's your job to keep the rookie in waiting. The 49ers are going to have a bunch of rookies that are starting. It looks like at least 3 on the defensive side of the ball. And you will just hold that guy off. Hold that third rounder off. Make your mark. This is your opportunity to shine. Stay healthy and show him what you can do. And I'm excited for that too. He looks like he could be a true, sideline to sideline guy.
Definitely. Nick Wagner shared his thoughts on Dee Winters in his breakdown of today's joint practice. Linebackers Fred Warner and Dee Winters were all over the place, especially Winters. He had a couple of nice thuds and forced Nix in an incompletion with a well-timed blitz that led to Nix letting it go earlier than he wanted to on a throw from Mims. I heard from a couple people that were there, he had really hits you could hear, from the sideline, like really big cracks. So if we get that thumper, like I said, to replace Dre Greenlaw, it's going to be a nice pairing between him and a nice trio when you add in Nick Martin. So I'm excited. Mike, I'm happy you brought up Robert Saleh, because that is kind of the catalyst into all of this. Is you can have the right pieces, but it doesn't matter if you have an incompetent defense coordinator. With all due respect to the previous ones, they clearly weren't talented or what's the word I want to say? Good enough, I guess, to get the job done regardless of who the 49ers had there. So it's looking good now with Dee Winters, Robert Saleh, Fred Warner. You get all the pieces coming into place. One main piece that we were hoping to get to see Saturday, which we're not going to, had a bit of a scare today. Mykel Williams, the 49ers first overall pick this year, went down with a knee injury, was holding his knee. Everybody goes and, checks on him. Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, even opposing players went and checked on him. Kyle afterwards said the clean scan, they're hoping it's just a hyperextended knee, and he's likely out a week. So the 49ers look to have dodged a bullet there. Matt, any cause for concern long-term? Nothing major, doesn't sound like.
What are we, 37 minutes? Okay. Listen, injuries at a 49ers practice, training camp, scrimmage, whatever, seem to be as common as dildos at a WNBA game. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, and it's going to, you just don't know what you're going to get.
Excuse me, bitch.
I just, I'm glad that it's so a hyperextended knee. If everything structurally is okay, and maybe you're looking at worst case scenario, maybe like a little bone contusion or something, like a week. And that's like contact practice, like a week. Tonight's was purple, by the way. If you look it up online, there was another one tonight, purple. Word on the street is that it's like a meme coin thing. So it's like a crypto thing. Anyway. So yeah, if there's everything is structurally intact, and they're going to do imaging, of course. If everything's structurally intact, like a week, maybe 2 outside to get actually back on the field during team periods. I would expect maybe a couple days, and he's out there working on the side field, going through, slow stuff. So looks like they dodged a major bullet. There are a rash of injuries going around all around the NFL. Rashawn Slater's career could be over after his injury today. You look at, Anthony Richardson injured again. His pinky was 45 degrees in the wrong direction. So far, so good. Knock on wood for Mykel Williams. It doesn't look super serious for him. And the 49ers already have enough injuries. I mean, we'll get to Jordan James, but he just came back from a knee injury to break his finger, and he's going to be out for a few weeks, all of a sudden, running back looks real thin behind Christian McCaffrey. So good thing they signed Amir Abdullah. I don't know if there's anybody else out in the free agency world that they could bring in for a little cup of coffee, but I know our boys in the chat would love it if their Messiah Jeff Wilson Jr. came back for a little bit. I don't know. Is Raheem Mostert a free agent? Because I'm sure people would like him back too. So we'll see.
What was purple? What were you talking about, Matt? She didn't understand what you meant.
Oh, another dildo hit an WNBA floor tonight. So enjoy. Look up the highlights.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Did you see? By the way, just I don't want to linger on this too much, but did you see that betting on dildos actually there's more bets on dildos in the WNBA than there are on outcomes of the actual games? It's insane, dude. This is
whatever gets the views up.
Pay them what they're worth, thing. That's not paying that off for them, man. It doesn't. Right. That's not helping their cause.
It is. It's getting more views, getting more eyes on it. People are watching now. People are looking for highlights and clips.
People
and
are
commercials.
waiting for the highlights of the dildos hitting the floor.
Yeah. They're gonna
Now,
start
like,
guessing how
listen,
many
I
times
think-
it bounces. And
I think it's part of a scheme. Like, I do think it's part of that crypto scheme. The first time, it's like, okay, that's funny. Now at this point, I'm like, man, like, one of the players got hit. Sophie Cunningham, I think, got hit the other night. It's just like, yeah, got hit with it, and it's just like, look, you're gonna end up throwing it and like hitting somebody in the eye or hitting a fan that you don't, intend to. The first time is funny. Now it's just kind of becoming disruptive, and it's like, get over it. Oh Lord,
yeah,
Chrissy.
There's
When you're I'm
Jesus
not. I was going to
Christ.
let it go. So when you're talking about some other available running backs, guys, remember that the Niners did bring in Jeff Wilson Jr. But when they signed Amir
workout.
Abdullah, he was one of the guys. So he's not out of the realm of possibility to bring him in. Again, Kyle talked about the. I think it was Robbie Chosen. They asked him, like, does he benefit from having? They were talking about if it's beneficial to have someone who has some system familiarity. I believe they were talking about Robbie Chosen, and so Jeff Wilson Jr. is definitely a guy that has some of that. And I don't think that they're expecting him to come in here and be RB2 or anything like that. It's just we got to get through this camp, and if it's someone that can hit the ground running, then that's what they'll do.
Do you maybe take a chance on Zach Moss, who just got released by Cincinnati? I mean, that's a body that you could bring in.
Since we're on the topic, this tweet is too funny to not share, so I have to bring it up, and we will no more dildo talk. So it's quoting a tweet from Polymarket Sports saying that there's going to be a no bag policy implemented for tonight's WNBA game to crack down, and Sony quoted it with that Star Wars quote: "I know what I have to do, but I don't know if I have the strength to do it." Now, clearly, he's talking about bringing in this dildo in a way that's not in a bag.
Yeah, no. By the way, Chrissy, I see you're sorry. Don't apologize. You be yourself.
All right. Yeah.
That was nice, Matt. Matt, that was nice. I don't know if you meant that pun, but that was good. Double entendre, I should say, not a pun, but that was good.
Matt, you talked about the other injury. Unfortunately, Jordan James broke his finger, required surgery, and is going to be out a few weeks. You mentioned he had just came back from a hamstring or knee or something. I forget what it was. Some lower leg injury, and he was back for maybe a week, snapped a finger apparently. Healthy running backs on the 49ers is very, very slim. Very slim. I mean, it's Patrick Taylor, Amir Abdullah. Garendo's not healthy. He's out a couple
No,
weeks
he's
as
out
well.
with shoulder injury.
So, and obviously you're not going to play Christian McCaffrey throughout the preseason. So it's getting a little bleak here. So we'll see. Hopefully they can bring somebody in to shoulder the load. Yeah, Patrick Taylor, Corey Kleiner. Forget.
Kiner.
Kiner. Yep.
So we'll see who shoulders
They're going to
the
get
load.
a ton of burn against the Broncos on Saturday.
Yep. For sure. Were there any other injuries that I missed? Was it just those two? Mykel
I mean, I
Williams?
know that Givens is out with a pec injury again. That happened in practice prior to the joint practices. But yeah, I mean, it just seems like, and this is not just the 49ers. I think this is everywhere around the NFL. When camp opens, the first couple days, you have a bunch of injuries. I feel like the first couple days of like joint practices, you have a couple injuries. And then like the first preseason game, you have injuries. And then like the first two regular season games. And then it's really weird. It seems like everybody settles in from like week 4 to like most of the season. You see it's almost like a downtrend in injuries. Like you build those calluses. And I think that's just like this new age of football where you're not supposed to tackle as much. I think that's where you get that disservice because people are just, I mean, I don't know, man. It seems like everybody's falling out these days. You know, like poor Miami, dude, their season's over before it even began. You know,
Miami.
I mean, the Dolphins.
Oh, they've had like a shit ton of injuries.
They've had
right?
a ton. Like their
Right.
entire secondary is injured for like with season-ending injuries. So it's pretty crazy. I mean, hey, boon to us, right? Like Matthew Stafford got hurt and he wasn't even doing anything, right? It was pre-camp he got hurt.
Yep.
So, and by the way, don't let the Rams fool you. They're really worried about him. When they came out the other day and the reports came out that like the Rams really love Jimmy Garoppolo, that's a tell. That's a tell saying like, hey man, our backup quarterback's pretty good. Don't lose the faith. Don't lose the faith. You know, you got a 37-year-old who's often injured anyway, and he has an aggravated disc in his back. That's not just going to go away.
I swear if we get a chance to play Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh, my God.
Oh,
I can't wait.
Oh, man. Oh, man. The stories, the tweets leading into the week, it's going to be pure pandemonium on 49ers Twitter.
Would this be the first time that the 49ers face their former quarterback in the past, 10 years? They haven't played Jimmy Garoppolo before, right?
Not in a regular season.
Not in a regular season game, yeah.
And Colin Kaepernick
he
never went to another team, so
he didn't stay on a team long enough. I'm sure back in the day the 49ers played like Jeff Garcia.
No, yeah, I just meant since Kyle, in the past 10 years or so,
Not anybody of relevance. I mean, they'll do it. I mean, technically do it this year with Sam Darnold, even though he didn't really do anything.
Yeah, starting quarterback. I guess I should have specified.
But
you're
well,
right,
they did it with Sam Darnold last year. We played the Vikings, and he beat us. Remember?
True.
Fair.
We really did ignore all of last year. We were tortured last year.
Yeah.
We're going back so far as guys, it just happened. It was just here.
I don't acknowledge last year.
Yeah.
I see.
But I'm telling you, Jimmy G is going to start most of the game. Well, I don't want to say even most because he's kind of injury prone too. He's going to start probably more games than Matthew Stafford. That's just my feeling on it. That back injury, and he's getting older. And even if he is back by week 1, you got to go up against the Texans defensive line. Good luck with that.
Yep. Oh, it's just
as soon as he gets hit for real, it's come on, man.
It's so funny that Devontae Adams publicly comes out, I had a lot to do with his benching. I'm going to get killed playing with this dude, man. He hated Jimmy Garoppolo when they were both with the Raiders. And now that's his quarterback. Now he's got to come and
honestly,
actually all of that's under the bridge. Don't worry about it.
I saw that on the NFL Network interview with him, and I was like, this man didn't even stand on business. He just bitched. He bitched. He was just like, oh yeah, Jimmy, no, that was everybody had a hard time in Las Vegas, and he played it off as if he really wasn't shit talking Jimmy Garoppolo, and I'm just like, you 100% were. You have to own that shit. You know what I mean? Don't be like nobody was having a good time in Vegas. Just being like, hey, I was getting hit a lot. I wasn't having a good time there. I felt like whatever. Maybe I shouldn't have said the things that I said or whatever. But he didn't even take accountability for the shit that he said or take responsibility. And he ran away from that shit like he used to run away from defenders. I don't know, man. I kind of don't respect it, to be honest.
I wish you would have just said we had some turmoil there. It's all water under the bridge. Don't worry about it. It's nothing now. We squashed it like men. To say that is kind of a bitch move.
100%.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. What else is on the docket tonight? Bosa. Bosa is wreaking havoc, and we talked about him a couple weeks ago. Mike, a couple of clips went a little viral, questioning whether or not he's worth what the 49ers pay, whether or not he's taken a step back, whether or not he belongs in the top pass rusher category in the NFL. Well, we talked about Upton Stout, Ricky Pearsall. He seems to be having a great camp as well, and he today was making life hell for Bo Nix by all reports, pressuring Bo Nix, getting to him, would have multiple sacks if it was a real game. Does that give you a lot of hope, or I shouldn't say hope, excitement, Mike, going into this year that maybe Bosa is going to be able to step it up? He finally has some help on that defensive line.
Yeah, when I first heard the reports, I'm like, yeah, this is great. I got to keep trash talking this guy so he can continue to be good, right? And that's the kind of wrong you want to be. But then I was like, but it was Mike McGlinchey. It was Mike McGlinchey. Should I really be celebrating this? But I'm going to take all positive for what I can, man. You do like hearing it in a day that they said that the Broncos defense was kind of dominating. You do like hearing that Bosa in particular. They were saying that he looks like he's in the best shape of his life, and so I love hearing those kind of reports, and I'm going to champion it. I mean, I'm a Niners fan through and through, so prove me wrong, and by the end of the season, I'll be saying Bosa's top 10, and y'all are idiots for doubting him.
Yeah, that's probably how it's gonna go, but we'll see. By the way, saying he's in the best shape of his life when this dude has had like 8 carbs in the past decade is insane. Like he's
Right.
always ripped like 10% body fat max. Like it's insane what shape he could be in if he's even in better shape. Matt, do you anticipate a bigger year? Kind of had a down year last year.
I mean, yeah, I would. Again, if there's health on the defensive line and they're getting more help, which they clearly tried to do through the draft, then yeah, he's going to have a really, really good year. You know, if you see, again, there's the clips of, I think it's Connor Colby going up, or is it the one that's dating Brock Lesnar's daughter? Whoever was going up against CJ West and absolutely got shoved into oblivion, right? If you get some of that from them, or on the third downs where you bring in Huff and you slide Mykel Williams inside, all of a sudden, now you're getting an easier path for Bosa. Nothing wrong with having good teammates next to you to help you succeed. Like, that's the whole thing about football, is it's a team game. And last year just was not it. There wasn't enough there for where defenses had to plan for somebody other than Nick Bosa on the defensive line. Now they do. Now they potentially do. So, I think it's a good sign that he had 3 sacks. Again, take it with a grain of salt. And like Mike said, it is Mike McGlinchey. But I'm also with Mike. I'm a big baseball fan, and I was shit-talking Xander Bogaerts all year this year because he was playing like dog water. And he's one of the best players on the team now. He's been hitting lights out since the middle of June. So you want to be wrong in that, that sort of way where you just like, it's almost like hey man, I'm throwing the reverse jinx out there, right? I'm going to say he's dog shit because that means he's going to play really good afterwards. So you want it to be like that for sure. So I'd like to take actually this opportunity to reverse jinx somebody who allegedly was reported to have really struggled today. And that's Jake Brendel. Like, goddamn, dude. All the reports were that the offensive line struggled today. And I'm not excited. Not excited at all.
This kind of goes back to my point. Like, what happened to Dominic Pooney? Where is he? Has anyone heard anything positive about him all offseason? I'm not kidding. Anything?
Like, honestly, no.
I'm really starting. Like, is he even out there? Like, I don't understand how you go from like this stud to absolutely nothing. And he got in early. Kyle said it was like our first practice. We lost our 2 starting left guards, and he just had to come in and play immediately. But he took the bull by the horns, and he came out like a man on fire last year. He kind of teetered off towards the end, and I attributed that to the duration of the season, right? Like, he's coming from college, and he's not used to playing, 14 games in a season, 15, 16, 17 games in the season. But you had a long offseason. This is the longest offseason the Niners have had in the last however many years. And, dude, where are you? Where's the help? You talked about the complimentary cast for Nick Bosa. I understand that Trent Williams was only in pads today in case of an emergency and he needed to go out there. But, damn, dude, like, you guys got to do something. It's supposed to be a wall up there. They were talking, like, people were talking about, I don't know if the run game was bad because of the running backs or if they were bad because of the offensive line. They were like, Christian McCaffrey was making the best of his opportunities. But once McCaffrey came out, it was like we weren't going anywhere. We were getting stonewalled. We were getting tackled at the line of scrimmage or behind the line of scrimmage. They got to do something here. Like, they chose to keep this offensive line the way it is. Someone's got to step up. We can't just accept, like, oh, we're going to get bullied in the trenches. Brock Purdy's not built for that. We heard about batted passes today and all that. Like, we cannot let this continue to be the narrative, man. We got to do something. They got to work these kinks out. So another group I'm going to be watching when Saturday takes place.
It's amazing to me that you have a quarterback who is shorter in stature like Brock Purdy, and you just neglect to improve the offensive line. And again, I don't know what kind of shit Shanahan is smoking when he's watching film on Brendel and McKivitz to think that they're good. But, like, let's take a look across the line. I mean, you have Trent Williams, who you hope is still some form of Trent Williams, right? But he's 37 years old, so how much are you going to get? You have Ben Barch, a career journeyman, starting as your left guard by all accounts. You have Jake Brendel, who sucks. as your center, even though Shanahan says he's good, he's not. Like I can't understand for the life of me what Shanahan sees in him. You have right guard Dominic Pooney. You hope that he doesn't regress in year 2, and then you have Colt McKivitz. These are your 5 best on the offensive line, and you want to put them back there with a quarterback who needs lanes to see down the field, and is basically like you're asking him to throw with anticipation to a certain spot on the field. And so if there's any pressure and that disrupts the timing, what do you think is going to happen to that play? You might as well just like chuck it into the trash can because it's not going to be worth a damn. I remember that Sean Payton with the Saints they typically had good offensive lines for Drew Brees to open up throwing lanes for him to be able to see. And they need to do that with Brock Purdy over and over and over and over again. We've seen other teams draft people, right? Apparently this year it's the Chiefs with Justin Simmons. Before it was Creed Humphrey with the Chiefs as well. It's this guy, it's that guy, all around the league. People that the 49ers could have had but chose not to draft. And yet defensive line year after year after year after year through trade, through free agency, through whatever, gets piece after piece after piece after piece after piece. I don't understand it, man. I don't understand it. And by the way, the defensive line hasn't even been that fucking good the last couple of years. With all those pieces.
And you pay Brock Purdy a shit ton of money. You would think you'd be a little interested in protecting your investment. But it seems to be, you talked about it, Matt. Connor Colby is the 1 draft pick, and he was in the basically end of the 7th round. It was frustrating. They didn't have the money to spend in free agency. Okay, fine. But you had 11 draft picks. You're telling me you couldn't spend 1? Or more than 1 on an early round pick on an offensive lineman,
or
Trent
even a
aging,
late round pick.
Even a late.
How? I mean,
7th.
Again, you take another, and no shade again to Jordan James, but you're taking a running back with your. I think that was that their first offensive pick, or was it Jordan Watkins was their first? Either way, they took both those guys in the 4th round, and you just like you couldn't have fucking really
Right.
You couldn't have found any offensive lineman that would have helped out your team. And again, no shade to those guys, but this blind spot for building the offensive line is something that will baffle me as long as this regime is here. I do not understand it in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. I mean, and when Kyle's been asked about it, it's the most idiotic, for such a smart guy, such an idiotic take on it. I like the players that score points. Kyle, you can't score any fucking points if you don't have anybody blocking for your quarterback. If your quarterback has to do a 7-step drop, which already puts him in harm's way, and then has to hold the ball for 3 to 7 seconds for these deeper routes to develop, who is blocking? Who is allowing that to take place?
And by the way, you don't let your quarterback adjust the protection at all.
No, even though he claims
it's built in.
That's for him.
It's built in.
Yeah. Hey, I take care of all of that. Have you heard him talk about it? And he said where Kirk Cousins came to him and asked him if he could do it. And he said, of course. And then after the game, Kirk goes, hey, Kyle, can you go back to doing it, man? That was so stressful. That was just way too much. And Kyle's like, yeah, man, no problem. Like, I
know what?
take all
Honestly,
that off your plate.
With Kirk Cousins, I kind of believe it. I don't know if you guys have watched any of season 2 of Quarterback. But like that first episode of season 2, he's talking about how many more motions there are in Atlanta than there were in Minnesota, and how it's like you could see him getting flustered with it.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. There are a lot of quarterbacks that call out their own protections, but when you build them in like that, we've seen before, right? Where you have hot, you got a free runner, and your hot is like the complete like opposite way of the free rusher.
Right.
So like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah. It doesn't always
work. You
work
just turn
out.
your back on a free rusher and then expect good things to happen?
Yeah. And not only that, but when you say, well, why would you need to do it? Because I've already taken all of that in consideration. It's built into the play, yada, yada, yada. That it so much accounts for everything going the way you think it's going to go. And in football, it's almost never the case, right? So
it is like
so
being too smart for your own good, like thinking, too cool for school.
Yeah.
And at the same time, right, like people who were super excited about Trey Lance's debut with the Chargers, like just go back to him here. You have a guy that you could roll out, that you could do all this stuff with, and you're running fucking quarterback power and like read option. Like, what are we doing, man?
Yeah. Use them like a battering ram.
Yeah. Kenny, by the way, talking about this now, bro, we've been on this
Years.
I feel like for at least 2 or 3 years.
I mean, Creed Humphrey was Matt's draft pick when he came out. How long has he been in the NFL now?
100%. I wanted him. Dude, when he was still at Oklahoma, I was like, dude, this is the guy.
Yeah.
This is the fucking guy. And he's a fucking stud.
So, and it's just the opposite coming from Jim Harbaugh, who builds the defensive or the offensive line and then outright. How many picks, early first, 3-round picks, can the 49ers invest in their offense without addressing their offensive line? Like, it's almost astonishing to see how long they've gone. Kyle as well, I drafted Mykel Williams. How did that work out? He's not here. It didn't work out well enough, clearly. So they need to address it. And at some point, it's like you've addressed the receiver, you've addressed tight end, you've addressed running back. We have a quarterback. Fix the fucking offensive line. Matt, you just said Trent Williams is 37.
Yep.
Is he planning to play until he's 45?
And that was my biggest thing about this draft. It's just like, wait, you guys aren't even going to pick a potential replacement for Trent Williams in this draft?
Yeah.
You're just going to let it rock? It's just like, respect to Trent Williams, who has come out and said, oh, yeah, I want to play until I can't even go anymore. That might be like 3 years. It's just like, on the other hand, he's also admitted, like, yeah, am I going to be prime Trent Williams? I don't know, but like, I want to be as close to that as possible. And that's better than some, but it's not fucking good enough. And how do you count on that? You got a guy with a litany of lower body injuries, and you expect him, again, same thing with the Stafford thing. You expect him to make it through an entire season at 37 years old with the laundry list of injuries that he's had in his career. I don't find that to be very realistic.
I think what the Niners do in the next draft, and that's way down the road, obviously. I think they're going to address this draft, specifically the offensive line, the way they address the defensive line this draft, right? So this draft, obviously, the first 3 picks were defensive linemen, right? The first 5 picks were defensive players. But if you go back to the draft before that, there were no defensive linemen. And I was like, guys, Chris Kosaric is going to quit. We didn't get him a single defensive lineman for the first time since he's been here, right? I think that we might be seeing the flip now, right? They got their defensive linemen. They like their guys. I even saw some positive tweets about Alfred Collins today, right? There's even a clip of him going out there. I thought when the ball snapped, he was high, but he did something really impressive. It's like he knew that the offensive lineman was expecting him to go high, so that guy got high with him. But then as soon as he engaged, he put his butt out, he ripped him down, and went right around him, right? And it's like, all right, I'm going to use what you guys think is my weakness against you, right? And I thought that was a brilliant play. I don't know how he did the rest of the practice, but I did hear some positive things. I saw that. Anyway, my point is, kudos to him, but they are now, I think, right? I can't imagine that they don't use 2 of their first picks next year, 2 of their first 3 picks on offensive linemen. I think that they're going to say, let's see what we can do. This offensive line was good enough to get us to a Super Bowl. If it can get us to the playoffs at least, maybe we'll see where we are. And then we're not picking so early where we have to pass on like supreme talent, and we can go for quality talent in linemen. Because let's be honest, guys, if you're picking top 10, if it's not the best tackle in the draft, you're not getting an offensive lineman. Let's be honest. You're not picking a guard. You're not picking a center that high in the draft. No team that believes in their offensive line coach is doing that. That's for really, really desperate teams, or teams with multiple first-round picks, or like I'm talking 5 picks in the first 3 rounds, right? So that's for those kind of teams. The Niners needed a ton of help on the defensive line, so I get why they did it this year. But man, I mean, some of those other picks, man, we definitely could have, and we did get an offensive lineman, right? What's
7th round, Connor Colby.
Connor Colby.
Mike, our problem is the last 5 years. This year, totally get all the turnover.
I'm with you.
Yeah, totally
I'm
get
you.
it.
Yeah.
But what about last year? What about the year before that? What about the year before
right.
that?
Well, really, really where it started for me to become a huge problem is when after they drafted Trey Lance and they didn't have any first, and again, it comes back to Jake Moody, but really pick your first pick in the draft that you have is 99 overall in round 3, and you're going to pick a fucking kicker, and you're not going to address the offensive line at all. There was nobody better than that. It's like, come on, man. So I don't know,
that
man.
was Drake Jackson. The kicker wasn't the first pick of that draft.
In that draft, Jake Moody was the first pick in that draft.
Was he?
No, he
yeah,
no,
I think it was Drake Jackson.
Mistaken. It was Drake Jackson.
Yeah,
are you sure?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, my stream would have caught on fire if that was the case. I promise you, it wasn't Jake Moody. He was early. I think he was a fourth round
I think
guy.
they had either that or they had 2/3.
Yeah, but they didn't go. That's funny. See, Matt trying to start some shit. I see. Matt wants to see the world burn. He's on his Joker bag. He's on his Heath Ledger over here.
Are you sure?
Yes, I am sure. I promise you that a kicker was not the first pick for the 49ers in any draft. I promise you. I'm not saying that he wasn't a third rounder. I'm saying that he wasn't the first pick. I promise you.
He was okay. I stand corrected. He was the second. Jair Brown was the first one, and it was only 12 picks ahead of him.
That's fine. But I know
it's
that
closer than you thought, brother.
Sheesh.
Closer than you thought, brother.
I haven't liked the way that they addressed the offensive line for the entire time this regime has been here, right? I remember when they picked Mike McGlinchey, I was pissed. I was like, we got Trent Brown. And then it's like, oh, we traded him. It's like, what?
Yeah.
You created a need for a guy when you had a Pro Bowler. You had a solid guy there already. So I have not liked the way they've addressed the offensive line since this regime has been here. They don't do it the right way for my opinion.
By the way, let me go over this 2023 draft because this is one of the most horrific draft classes in history. So you have round 3, 87th overall, Jair Brown. He's still on the team. Jake Moody, 99th overall, round 3. He's still on the team for now. Round 3, 101, Cam Latu, gone. Round 5, Darrell Luter, still on the team. But, Robert Beal, huh? And then you get Dee Winters, that's fine. Braden Willis, gone. Ronnie Bell, gone. Jalen Graham, injured. What a shit draft, man. 22 was bad, too.
Is Brock Purdy not in that class?
Brock Purdy was...
I thought he was there.
In 23?
Yeah.
No.
What was he, 22?
22.
It's been so long. I'm telling you, Mike, just like you said, I don't remember last year. So
22. 21 was a bad class. They have not drafted well, to be honest.
Well, what trips me out too is what was Kyle Shanahan's first main goal when he got hired? And we're gonna get to the what we want to keep an eye on for this game next. If you guys remember, he made an emphasis on spending a lot of money at which position? The center position. They gave Weston Richburg $60 million and said he was so adamant that my offense revolves around the center. The center has to call out all the protections. The center has to be smart. He has to be athletic. He has to be strong. And it all starts and ends with the center. Obviously, Weston Richburg had injuries, didn't really pan out. But then what did he do? He went and got Alex Mack, a great center that he was with in Atlanta. I don't know if he's Hall of Fame worthy, but he's definitely one of the better centers we've had over the past, 2 decades in the NFL. And he hadn't made an emphasis on the position. And then after that, it was kind of just I don't know. Who was the center before Jake Brendel? Was it Mack? No, it wasn't, right? I'm forgetting.
There was Alex Mack. There was
Kilgore, or did we send Kilgore away when
Daniel Kilgore was there for a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, they just didn't give a shit.
No, Goodwin was a long time ago, right? That was
Harbaugh. Yeah, Jonathan Goodwin was Harbaugh.
Who was before Brindle? Oh crap! Was it Richburg? I mean Weston Richburg?
It would have been Mack.
It was Alex Mack
Wow.
in 21. The year before, it was Ben Garland. And then Weston Richburg was, let's see, Shanahan came over in 2017. So, yeah, Daniel Kilgore was that first year. And then it was Weston Richburg for 2. You get Ben Garland for 1, Alex Mack for 1, Jake Brendel the last 3 years.
Richmond Westberg. Yeah, exactly. Tom Jim Sula. All right, let's get into these. Go ahead, Mike.
I want to highlight one more player that I've heard is doing really well with this team, this training camp and off season, and it's Russell Gage. I do want to just give him some flowers. I haven't seen any clips of him going around or anything like that, but the people who are talking about how they observe this team, and I believe I haven't seen any pressers yet. I'm going to do a breakdown on Patreon, but I believe that even Kyle said that the way that he's playing and this training camp that he's had, he is playing good enough to make the roster, the final 53. So kudos to Russell Gage being one of those guys, someone I can't wait to watch tomorrow. Saturday. Sorry, not tomorrow, Saturday.
And he, well, it's just about tomorrow in your time right now. He was on the practice squad last year. A lot of people forgot the 49ers signed him, brought him on the practice squad. And, this offseason with the injuries, he's had a ton of opportunities, and he seems to be making the best of them. I've heard reports that he's not only, excelling on the field, but as a leader, as a vet, showing the younger receivers how it's done, and this is how you run this route, and this is where you want to be on this play. So it really is impressive to see, and promising that hopefully he can turn into someone. It's a good shot, Matt. We'll share this, and then we'll get into our predictions. George Kittle getting the best.
Kittle got Surtain. Kittle got Surtain. So there you go. Yeah. Kittle's still the man, dude.
Hell yeah.
He is. If we get him some help, if we just get him some help, he could be a 1,000-yard receiver. Like that's the thing about the Niners, right? It's like we might not have Brandon Ayuk, and who knows what's going to happen if you're forced to have Juwan Jennings as your number one wide receiver. That doesn't mean that he has to be the best receiving option on the team. There's still a very good George Kittle here, who's been kind of reserving his body these last couple of years, right? Like, let's go ahead and unleash him. You get him and Christian McCaffrey. We still got a good offense here, but we got to get them time. we got to protect the quarterback, and we got to give him an opportunity to get these guys the ball. So Kittle can be a 1,000-yard guy. Christian McCaffrey can be 1,000. I'm talking about receiving. Both of those guys have the ability to be 1,000-yard receivers for this team. And then you have a Pearsall and whoever else filling in, Russell Gage or the rookie Watkins. Like, you have opportunities for other guys to fill in. And if they can give you 600, 700 yards while they're there waiting for Brandon Ayuk to come back, and hopefully he can come in later in the season and finish with 500 or 600 yards himself, we got enough here to spread the ball around. But that offensive line, which is our last 10-minute diatribe that we were on, we got to be able to give these guys some time. That's all.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into some what are we keeping an eye on?
Real quick, Zach, did you not want to throw up that other thing that I sent you? That's kind of cool. A little peek.
Oh, I forgot about this.
At the David Lombardi posted the new video boards in Levi's.
Oh yeah, look at that. They're nice size.
Apparently they're the largest 4K monitors or 4K video boards in the world.
There's always like a tweak to the what makes this one the biggest, right? Like Jerry Jones had like the biggest whatever, and then the Rams had the biggest consistent board in the NFL. Now we have the biggest 4K boards in the NFL.
Hey,
like,
Zach, pause it at the end there. Or the beginning. It doesn't matter either way.
You just want to see how much it sticks over the edge of the stadium?
Fuck yeah. Look at that Levi's Stadium side. You mean they can't put a canopy on the other side? There's no possible way to put a canopy on top of that shit and give people some fucking shade? No way whatsoever? York?
What
the planes?
I was going to say, do you guys know the flight path rule? Like, it can't be a covered building? Is that what it is?
It's because it's technically in the flight path, but not normally. So normally the runway is opposite, but in inclement weather, they flip the runway, which is why they're not allowed to have it. But I'm just like, look, if it's lower than this, all you need is like a canopy over the top, and you'll be okay, man.
But that's what I'm asking. Is the restriction a covering, so it has to stay open?
It's height.
It's height.
It's just strictly height.
Just height.
Wow.
By the way, if a plane's that low, you got bigger problems. We're not talking about a canopy. We're talking about the stadium going down.
Have either of you ever flown into San Diego?
I have not. I've done Oakland.
On approach, there is a parking structure that planes have to like make it over, and then they drop like 100 feet like immediately afterwards.
Wow.
Listen, San Diego is probably the busiest single runway airport in the world. And
they only have one runway?
Single runway airport.
But it's a small like airport, right? Like it's like a Frontier JetBlue.
They are an international airport. Dude.
There's an international airport with one runway on purpose.
In the 8th largest city in the country, yes.
All right. That's cool.
Yep.
Start a GoFundMe. Y'all broke.
But apparently planes can't avoid a canopy or like some type of roof. Like I'm saying like something similar to what they did in Miami. You can't fucking do that here. Like, get out of here, man.
It's complete BS. Put up giant umbrellas for all I care.
Yeah. Like literally when you're in the plane flying into San Diego, you're flying between buildings. You can look right into the top floor of the El Cortez.
I don't know if either of you guys have been to Levi's in September, like when it's hot. I know we all went, but it's fucking hot. And you wouldn't think, maybe the heat's like 85, but when you're sitting there with the sun beating down on you in the bad side of the stadium and there's no breeze, I mean, it's hot. And
it's like the weather. It's like the weather app, right? Where it's like 85 feels like 110.
Right, yeah. No,
but we've seen that at NFL games too, where there are places where it's the air temperature is like 80 degrees. Down on the field, it's 112, and it's just like, what the fuck, man?
Yep.
That's how it goes.
It affects the players. I mean, you guys remember last year the home game versus the Cardinals. The 49ers had asked the NFL for permission to change to their white jerseys, but the NFL said no. But it was going to be really hot. It was triple digits that day. So we haven't had that warm of a summer. We haven't even had a 100-degree day yet here. I'm like 20 minutes from the stadium. So hopefully come September, come next month, we won't have to deal with these issues.
You know what, though? When I used to live up there, I remember like September, October being the hottest months, man. Particularly in San Francisco. Yeah. They're not in San Francisco anymore, but San Francisco in October, those are the warmest months in San Francisco. You don't have as much of the morning fog. Yeah. It's like straight up get some heat. But maybe you should have designed the stadium for Santa Clara rather than just taking the design that was meant for Candlestick down there.
Crazy idea.
Just a thought.
All right, let's get into these predictions / what we're keeping an eye on for the first preseason game of the season, Saturday evening versus the Denver Broncos. I'll start. We talked about the receivers, so I'm taking the easy one here. I want to keep an eye on the receivers. I don't know how much Ricky Pearsall is going to play. Hopefully he plays the first quarter or at least the first couple drives. He definitely needs the reps. But Jordan Watkins, Mike, you talked about Russell Gage, these younger guys / vets that are on the fringe of the roster. Do they make the most of their opportunities? Do they continue to show out? The Broncos, I think, had like the number 1 defense last year, if my memory serves correct.
Yeah, they were first against the pass, fourth against the run.
Now, obviously, they're not going to have all of their starters out there, but still, it's a good scheme, good defense, good DC. How did the receivers fare against that? That's what I'm
damn good DC, thing. By the way. Vance Joseph, it's a real one for sure.
Matt, how about you?
Man, it's going to be tough, right? You're running vanilla offense, and I always feel like defense has the advantage on offense in the preseason. How much is Kyle Shanahan going to want to show? I can't imagine many of the starters, if any, are going to play, especially after today when you lose Mykel Williams. I know Kyle said he was supposed to play on Saturday, but obviously he's not going to be able to go. There's no running back depth behind Christian McCaffrey. If he even puts on a uniform, that's almost malpractice. You know what I'm saying? Like, he should be in street clothes. Kittle, I'm sure, is going to kind of want to play, but you got to hold him out. Listen, it's going to be Mac Jones out there. And that's as close as you're going to get to like even a marginally starting talent person in the NFL. I wouldn't even expect like starting offensive line out there. So to me, I'm looking more forward to some of the rookies getting a little bit of burn and seeing how they look in their one-on-one matchups, regardless of like the outcome of the play. I want to see how they separate, how they move away from the ball. And then I want to see what the defense does. It's the 49ers defense is going to be much more telling to me than what the offense is going to do, because even with backups, Vance Joseph is probably going to scheme the shit out of this game.
Mike, what are you keeping an eye on, offense or defense?
Well, I want to talk about the offense in the opening drive in particular, right? Kyle already came out and said that Kubiak is going to be calling plays for this preseason game, so he's kind of like, oh, well, whatever you guys see, it's not my fault, right? I want to see Kubiak do something creative with the starters, right? Like this is close to as many starters as you're going to get on that opening drive. I would love to see him come out in a 2-minute drive and catch the defense off guard, and we march right down the field and hurry up. We score, and then you can get those guys off the field. And then you can start the rotations and everything. You can say that you played the guys, you did what you needed to do. I want to see the creativity from the play calling because what happens is if you have a bad offensive line, you got to do quick hitters. You got to get the ball out fast. And so the best way to do that, in my opinion, is the 2-minute drill. It's a 2-minute offense, and we know that they practiced that today. They said that Sean Payton was insisting that we run the 2-minute drill, so that was really, really good to hear. And the Niners had some success with it, I heard. So run it back, get those starters out there. You can say that you played your guys. I'm going to be watching that. On the offensive side of the ball, though, I am going to be watching the trenches. I want to see the backup centers. We were talking about how much we hate Jake Brendel. Let's see what Hennessy can do. Let's see what Zakel can do, or whoever else is going to be out there under center. We can't sit there and say,
Daniel Nugent. I really like to see what he can do.
Right. So I'm going to be watching the centers in particular, and I've been banging the table about where's Pooney, where's Pooney. I'm watching him, and if he's not playing well, run him out there with the second team. Also, I don't care. I don't care. Like we have so many would-be centers. And they're not centers, that means that we got a ton of guards on this team. So if Pooney ain't going to get it done and he's not going to show dominance out there, let him keep working against lower-tier defensive linemen, and let's see him start to dominate and build that confidence back up because he's supposed to be the starter. We're going to have to use him on the right side. On the right side. Yeah, on the right side. So we got to make sure we get it right.
Okay, since it's preseason, we're not going to do the offensive-defensive stat prediction, but let's do a simpler predict who the player of the game will be for the 49ers. I'll go first. Dee Winters. I think he's going to have a good game. I don't know if he'll play that much if he's earning that starting role, but I think he's going to make enough of an impression to be like, wow, I really feel good about him moving forward. He's going to show out. Missile, bat out of hell, hard hitter, fast, good in coverage. Dee Winters is my player of the game for the 49ers. Matt, who do you got?
Oh, man. Who am I going to go with? I'm going to go with Nick Martin. Ooh. I think Nick Martin's going to show something and, be there as like a third linebacker. I haven't heard too much from what he's been doing during training camp, just because, again, it's been a lot about Dee Winters. So I want to see what Nick Martin can do. And again, in a game where a lot of it is really basic offenses and stuff, a lot of the stuff's going to go over the middle. There's going to be a lot of runs. How does he fill the run gaps? How does he play passes underneath? Does he come up and thump? That's been the word on the street about him since he's been drafted. So let's see what he can do. And I think Nick Martin.
Okay. Mike?
Can I give one on each side of the ball?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I think our brains all go to the defense, right? So it's like, who do we think is going to look good, right? And I was going to go with rookie C.J. West. So he's going to be my defensive guy. But I want to challenge myself to find somebody on the offensive side of the ball that I think is going to be really, really good. And I have two in mind. I'm going to pick one.
I got one, too.
I'm going to go with Watkins. I'm going to go with Jordan Watkins as my guy. But my other guy, I'm not going to say his name.
Wait.
I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't. I was going to say I'm not going to
yeah.
say his name because I want to take it from Matt. But they're kind of linked. So go ahead, Matt. The floor is yours.
Okay, maybe not who you're thinking. I don't know how they would be linked, but for me, Corey Kiner, you're gonna get a chance to carry the football, right? You got a guy who was very successful at Cincinnati, who came in and was an undrafted free agent who the 49ers seemed to like. Again, can you displace Patrick Taylor? Can you displace Amir Abdullah to get a spot on this roster, particularly with an opportunity? Who knows how long Isaac Guerendo is going to be out? Who knows how long Jordan James are going to be out? Maybe into the regular season. So now you're looking at, dude, there's going to be a need for at least 3 tailbacks on this team. So can you be one of those 3? And even if it only gets you a couple of games on the roster before some of those guys come back, that could be enough of a look to get, to make them think twice before you get released and I mean, I hope he stays here, but if that gets you another opportunity somewhere else, then all the better. But this is your moment. You got to take up advantage of it. And in a game where offensive play calls are very dumbed down, very simple, they're going to run the football a lot. And Corey Kinder's going to, I would guess Corey Kinder's going to have between 10 and 12 carries in this game.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, Matt, third running backs for the Niners usually get decent deals. I mean, we have seen what's happened for guys like Elijah Mitchell, who was a second guy, right? But
Jeff Wilson
we
Jr.
just talked about Jeff Wilson Jr.,
Matt
Mason.
Breida.
Yeah, these guys go out and they get looks in other places. So being the third back in the Niners system has its benefits. So go out there and take advantage of that opportunity. I like that. That was a good pick. Zach, did you have an offensive player you want to try to say before I say my second one?
No. Go ahead.
Mac Jones, bitch. I want to see Mac Jones go out there, former first-round pick, right? Like, I want to see this guy go out there and make everyone say, uh-oh, the Niners are in trouble. I don't think it's going to be a quarterback controversy, so let me just stop that. But I think that he should play most of the game, and that's why I'm going to say Mac Jones. I could see
100% he should play most of the game.
Yeah, I could see him having some decent stats, so that's who I'm going to put, and that's why I said that they were linked, him and Watkins.
Sweet.
People have been saying that he's been playing pretty good during the preseason. Mm-hmm. Although, again, you get both sides of the same coin, right? Like, Brock Purdy threw 2 interceptions today, and then you got those people that run out and go, yeah, but Mac Jones threw 3 today. Like, I don't give a fuck about joint practice picks, to be honest, especially when you're running out there against a defense that's going to be as good as Denver. Like, Denver is going to be an elite defense. Denver, honestly, might be, man, I got them as a sleeper to make the AFC Championship game this year. I think they're that good. Like, Bo Nix was better than I thought. Bo Nix should have won Rookie of the Year last year.
I think he was overlooked
purely based off statistics, by the way.
Yeah. He
more pass yards, more touchdowns, less picks, sacked less
really take him
than
seriously
Jaden Daniels.
For some reason.
I don't know, man. Yeah. Denver's good, though.
All right, that's going to do it for tonight's show, guys. We appreciate you guys rocking with us. Football is back, even if it's just preseason football, even if it's just joint training camps. We are back.
No final score predictions?
No, not for the preseason.
13-9.
Yeah.
14-17.
There you go.
31-21.
Watch, it's gonna be like 51-48 or whatever.
Right.
The third string team gets in there and nobody knows how to defend anything, and it's just like 80-yard touchdowns back and forth. I've seen that happen before.
Mike, nobody mentioned Moody. Yeah, we're gonna be watching Moody for sure.
Thank you, Filthy Casual. We're all gonna be watching Moody. Mike, touch base. You had a little recent thread on X that I actually really liked because people were freaking out, and you're kind of pointing out like, hey, just because Joseph isn't there doesn't mean that Moody isn't in a kicking competition right now.
I don't. So many people are like, oh my God, they cut him and they're giving him the crown and he's in the competition was never real, and that's nonsense, guys.
Yep.
We can't put people on the field. We don't have the luxury of keeping another kicker here so listen to this. I'm going to say this one more time, and I'm going to be as concise as I possibly can be. When they brought in Boyer, he said that he wanted this competition to be as real as possible. And so what he's going to do in his controlled environment is the team is going to go out there and do their thing. And when it's time for a kicker to come in, they're going to attempt it. And they're going to stop practice, switch kickers, and make them kick from the same spot. That's the only way to track it fairly. Those were his words. In my opinion, it's even harder for whoever's kicking second because now you're giving that rushing defense or special teams unit, like trying to block it, another attempt at the person in front of them, right? So I think it's even harder for the second person, but he wanted it to be as fair as possible. Well, guess what you can't do in a joint practice? Say, hold on, we're going to try to kick this one more time from that same spot. Guess what you can't do in a preseason game? Hold on, we're going to try to kick this one more time from that same spot. Right? Even Kyle Shanahan went to the podium and said, oh, he's still in the kicking competition, but we just didn't have the luxury of running people out there. And people were, oh, no, you don't know what you're talking about. It was never a real competition. It was just lip service. It was lip service. Boyer has no ties to Jake Moody. He doesn't give a fuck
100%.
Who the kicker is. He doesn't care who the kicker is. He just wants to go out there and improve that unit, that special teams unit, and kicking is a big part of it. And so anybody out there who thought that this was a fake kicking competition, you're wrong. I don't care how people try to spin it. It can't be a competition if he's not here. Who's he competing with? He's still competing with every other free agent kicker that's out there right now. That's who he's competing with.
You don't think that Kyle Shanahan and Boyer have Greg Joseph's number on speed dial right now if Moody goes out tomorrow, misses an extra point and 2 field goals? Like 100%.
Absolutely. And I heard that Moody had a really, really good day today, actually. No one wanted to talk about that shit either. I heard 100%. He had a phenomenal day. But absolutely, if you guys thought it was over, you're fucking wrong.
Yeah.
You're wrong.
If Moody wins the job, he wins the job, right? But let's be real. If Moody misses a bunch of kicks and they end up cutting Moody and decide later they want to bring him back, he will be there because after the performances he's had in the NFL his first 2 years in the NFL, no one's going to fucking pick his ass up. He's just going to languish there. He has a career make field goal percentage of 76.8% in the NFL. You're going to be a free agent with that. I'm interested to see the 2-step delivery rather than the 3. It looks like it's cost him a little bit of power. I know the other day one of his misses was from 55 and it hit off the crossbar, which like whatever, dude. Robbie Gould couldn't hit a 55-yard field goal if his life depended on it. So, I guess we'll just punt from the 38. You know what I mean? So like, who gives a shit? It's fine. I don't know. We'll see, man. It'll be interesting though. I'm glad Filthy Casual brought that up.
Mike, you had discussed earlier, but please remind the folks where to find you, where to watch the game if they can't watch it locally. Let them know where they could find it.
Yeah, guys, listen, if you are looking for somewhere to watch the game Saturday for the rest of the season, you guys can find them there. Patreon.com/NB9ERS. I have even taught my wife how to broadcast the games in my absence for the games that I actually attend. She now knows how to do it, and I talk her through how to get everything set up. So those games will be available. $5 tier and up for the regular season. If you're just here for preseason action, $1 tier will get you in there. And then if you guys are looking for some extra content, if you're watching here on the 49ers Hive channel, please come over to our channel, Nothing But Niners. Give us a follow over there. And if you're watching from the Nothing But Niners channel, flip the switch and come over here to 49ers Hive, man. You guys get a bunch of different shows and topics, not just the ones that I appear on here also. So it's definitely worth the time.
Appreciate you, Mike. Thank you very much.
Real quick, I just want to tell everybody, too, when you talk about watching games, this is just, I found this out and I took full advantage of it. But if anybody is outside, we all know things are getting more and more and more and more expensive, right? If you're outside of the 49ers broadcast area or you just want to have it, if you go to ID.me and you're a military member or veteran, a nurse, a first responder, a teacher, or some type of medical provider, and you have an ID.me account, you can get NFL Sunday ticket for under $200 for the entire season, just so you know.
Nice. Good shout. Matt, do us the honors. First preview show of the year.
Yeah. I'm excited about it. 49ers football is back. For all the people that say preseason doesn't matter, when you love this team as much as we love this team, every snap matters. Every roster spot matters. This is going to be what we're going to go into the season with, right? And the 49ers, unfortunately, have struggled with health. So some of these guys that we see in the third and fourth quarter of this game may be guys that we need to rely on during the regular season. Again, every snap counts, and I'm looking forward to every bit of it. Thank you guys for joining us here tonight. We couldn't do this without you. For Zach, for Mike, for myself, we love having you. And until next time, go Niners.